let's take some time and get real comfortable working inside the Blender interface. I've gone ahead and launched the app, and this is the first thing that we're always going to see. This is the Blender splash screen. And in the center here, we have some important presets down at the bottom half that will allow us to change and configure the interface to bring to the surface the tools that we need to work with. And of course, we have the 2D animation tools. We have some wonderful digital sculpting tools in here as well. So we got a lot of fun things that we can do to change our interface real quickly. Now I'm going to click on 2D animation, but before I do it, I want you to pay attention to all of these tabs up here at the top. If you look, there's a whole bunch of them. Everything from compositing and geometry nodes to scripting and modeling. There's a bunch of stuff going on inside the Blender interface. Well, the cool thing about these little presets is that it's automatically going to bring to the surface the tools for this workflow. So I'm going to jump into the 2D animation section. And then voila, you can see that all those tabs at the top of the screen have been changed to bring to the surface all of our 2D animation tools. And of course, we're going to start with the 2D animation tab. So welcome to the 2D animation workspace. It's a pretty easy environment to work within. I think I'm going to begin by just talking about this center section in here. So all of this, okay? This is our canvas. This is where we're going to be doing all of our drawing and consequently all of our animating as well. So this is going to be our primary work area right in here, which is pretty cool. Now at the moment we are seeing the total boundaries of this canvas inside this white square. Well, sometimes when we're drawing, what we like to have is an understanding of where the boundaries begin and end. And I want you to draw focus real fast to this icon right here on the far right hand side of our interface. This icon will allow us to zoom in. I'm just going to left click and drag on that icon, zoom in and zoom out. So some folks like to see the boundaries of their composition so they can make some decisions as to the placement of their characters and what have you. You know, it allows us to draw pretty quickly. So this magnification icon is pretty helpful. In addition, we also have this hand, which will allow us to kind of pan our workspace around. Perhaps it's more comfortable for us to draw with that portion of the image kind of docked over here in the right hand corner. So you have a lot of opportunity to go in and make some changes, which is pretty neat. So you can customize this to your heart's content. You can't break it, and you can always hit this camera icon twice, and it will start to pop things back where you want them to go. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat way of working. Okay, so this center part, this is going to be where we're going to be doing all of our drawing. But this is not the only environment that we're going to be working within. Of course, we have our toolbars way over here. All these, we're going to go through a lot of these tools here in a minute. But this is where we're going to find access to all of our shape creation and some tools that will help us animate all the shapes that we've created and drawn inside of Blender. So we got our toolbar over here. Now, up here at the top of the workspace, up at the top of the viewport, we have some options. We'll go into some of these as well, but some of these options are pretty important, like this in here. This is kind of super important. This is going to be the size of our brush. So point being, there's some important things in here that we'll definitely want to take note of here in a minute. But if we continue to cruise around the interface, this area over here, this is our outliner. This is going to show us a list of all of the active objects inside of our three-dimensional scene, or in this case, our two-dimensional scene. More on that in a minute. Below our object list here, our outliner, is a whole series of tabs, which is going to bring to the surface some properties. And there are a lot of properties. And don't freak out. We're not going to go over all of these. Shoot, some of these, I don't even know what they do. But this is where we're going to find access to some specific information that's going to help leverage materials and textures and colors and a whole series of properties. For example, we can go in here and we can change the size of our composition. Maybe we want our canvas to be a different size. So this is just the granular properties for our entire project over here in the Properties panel. And then, of course, lastly, down here at the bottom of the screen, we have our wonderful animation environment. So way down over here, this is our timeline. And we're going to talk a lot about our timeline because this is where the nuts and bolts of the animation engine really reside, is down here. And it's got a wonderful little playhead. These little diamonds represent our keyframes. More on this later. We're going to talk about a lot of this stuff in its own dedicated video towards the end of this module, so we're going to come back to this. But you can see pretty quickly that the 2D animation environment is pretty simple. it's straightforward, which is what I like. It doesn't have a lot of complex menus getting in the way. All of these tools are right at our fingertips. And at any time, if we want to just kind of make this interface start to fade to the background a little bit, check it out. We have our own little 2D full canvas tab here, which completely docks all of that stuff out, on the outside, and we can start to really focus in on the artwork and the animations that we've created. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful interface for creating some really cool two-dimensional artwork, and of course, some really cool two-dimensional animations as well.